Hey everyone, it's just down 2 o'clock, so we're going to give it a couple minutes, see if we get anyone else to join. I'm trying to pull it up on my computer as well so that I can see if I miss any comments or anything, because sometimes I don't catch them on the phone. Let's see. Make sure I'm muted. Sorry, I didn't realize I was so close to my phone. And I'm not muted, so how do I do that? Okay, there we go. Let's see if this lighting helps at all. Woo. Okay, I'm not sure who I have with me because I don't see any comments, but welcome. This is Tuesday Talk with Bim Group. I'm your host, Deanna Sizemore, and we have been absent for a few weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I had an event that I had to attend all day, and last week I actually took a vacation. So if you haven't taken some time off during COVID, now that things are opening back up, take some time off. Much needed. So today we've got a few things to talk about, but I also want to see if any questions that you all have that need to be addressed. As always, feel free to pop those in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer those. This is an open conversation. I've kind of got an agenda of a few things I want to hit, and then, of course, we'll address any questions that you have, whether they're under this topic or a completely different topic. So open to that as well. First things first, just to get some reminders out of the way, the PCORI fee that is due every July for any plan that is self-funded, which includes an HRA that's not attached or part of a health plan that requires the PCORI fee to be paid. That PCORI fee is due end of July. I think actually the due date is August 2nd due to the end of July being on a weekend. And also, if you have a calendar year ERISA plan year, your 5500 filing is due for the end of July. So just a couple of reminders there. And real quick on the ACA, as many in our industry have been watching and aware of, last November, the Supreme Court heard California versus Texas, and it was a challenge to the ACA and how if the individual mandate no longer applied, that the whole ACA law should be struck down as unconstitutional. Well, the Supreme Court came back with a vote 7-2 that it does not actually. They came back on a technicality that they threw the case out, because in order to have a case, someone has to be hurt, and no one was hurt by removing the individual mandate penalty. So they threw it out on a technicality. So the ACA is here to stay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. This was yet another attempt to dismantle the ACA, and it failed. Like I said, they threw it out that no one was hurt. Therefore, they can't even really look at it. There's some articles about it online. I'd be happy to go into those if you want to know more about it. But basically, it's here. And that includes reporting. That includes employer mandates. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to hit me up later. I'll be happy to answer those. What I really want to talk about, and we're running into a lot here lately, is the COVID and COVID vaccine status. Oh, sorry, Diana. I wondered if that was you. I couldn't see the name. I can usually see who's watching, but I couldn't see. So I would have warned you that bad news was coming had I thought it was you. Yeah, it's here. So with that being said, talking about COVID, a lot of states have opened back up. I know Kentucky has opened back up, meaning you don't have to wear a mask everywhere you go. Now, places like jails, prisons, hospitals, providers' offices, healthcare facilities. Some business owners are still requiring that you wear a mask in their facility. So what some of the bigger challenges employers are facing is returning to work. If you have had employees out of the office and they're now coming back in, or you've had them in and they're all wearing masks, is how do you determine, does everyone unmask? Do we just have those that are vaccinated mask? What's the ideal scenario to bring people back to work? Is it hybrid? Is it, they're going to work from home some, they're going to work in the office some, we're going to stagger people in and out. Obviously, that's all going to depend on the nature of your business and what you all have individually to deal with in your employment. But we do have some guidance. The EEOC has issued 2 very clear options on providing a vaccine incentive. Hey, Cynthia! And they've also provided some guidance on mandating vaccines, which leads us to, how to return to work. So let me start with a vaccine incentive. I'm kind of back my way into it. So the EEOC has said you can offer a vaccine incentive if the employer or the employer as an affiliate is not providing the vaccine. So for example, if your employees voluntarily go to their own provider, the health department, their own pharmacy, and get a vaccine, and they come back to work, they go somewhere in the community, and they come back to work, you can offer them a vaccine incentive. That incentive could be cash, it could be a PTO, it could be a version of both, it could be something. What we don't know is what is too much. Obviously, the more you give, the bigger the risk. But we do know from the EOC guidance that it can be more than de minimis, which is a baseball hat, a gift card. You could do, a half a day PTO or $50 incentive or somewhere along those lines. If your organization or an entity acting on your behalf administers the vaccine. So let's say you are a physician's office or a hospital or a clinic, or you're just an average Joe employer who has brought someone into the office, maybe a Walgreens or CVS, to administer the vaccine. You cannot offer an incentive. So hands off, you can offer an incentive. If your hands are on it, you cannot offer an incentive. Which kind of also leads us to, if you're going to offer an incentive, are you going to mandate employees get the vaccine? So with the vaccine, an employer can mandate that employees are vaccinated. However, they have to provide reasonable accommodation under the ADA and GINA. So if someone has a disability, or someone has a medical condition, or they have some reason why they can't take it, you cannot force that upon them. If there's no other alternative for them to avoid being vaccinated, you can't force that upon them. And what you can do is provide a reasonable accommodation, face mask, social distancing, working different hours, telecommuting, reassignment different roles, work from home, that sort of thing. The other piece of that is, if you are mandating the vaccine, how are you collecting that data and what are you asking? So if you are mandating it, really all you can say is, have you or have you not had the vaccine? If they have, you can ask for proof, but that proof should only have vaccine yes or no on it. Then you have to determine, am I going to let those that are vaccinated unmask, or I'm going to make them mask? So there's a couple of really good articles on bimgroup.us under our COVID Insights page, under What's New, that gives some really good examples and reasons about, if you should and how you should indicate if an employee is vaccinated or not, and then do you allow one or all to unmask? I'm going to hit it at a real high level, but I recommend you go out there and read it. Again, it's under bimgroup.us, the COVID Insights tab, and it is called Unmasking the Challenges, 7 Options for Managing a Partially Vaccinated Workforce. So this is per CDC and EEOC guidance. That proof of vaccination can be anything from the provider that did it. Again, it should only have vaccine information on it. It should not have any other information whatsoever on it. And it depends on the state that you're in. So I'm not sure that Kentucky has had a stance on it, but like Florida, for example, has said you can't be prevented from working because you haven't been vaccinated. Other states have said you have to notify us if you're vaccinated or not. So you've got your federal law, and then you've got the state underneath it trying to figure out, what's that happy medium. But for all employers and all intents and purposes, if you are requiring a vaccine and you are offering an incentive and or not offering an incentive, how do you address those that are not vaccinated? So, one, you can make everyone continue to mask up, and especially if you are in a workforce where you're in front of a lot of public. For example, I was at Starbucks yesterday, and everybody at Starbucks had a mask on, and I'm thinking, why are they doing that? Well, I don't know. Maybe they have an employer mandate that they have to be vaccinated, or maybe the employer says everybody still has to wear masks, whether you're vaccinated or not, doesn't matter. So you have to determine that piece of it. You have to determine if you want to mandate it or not. And if you are going to mandate it, what does your state say? You can have employees provide proof that they're vaccinated, or you can go on the honor system, or you can self-certify. Now, repercussions if you find out they're not vaccinated. How are you going to find out they're not vaccinated? Is that really the best way to do it? If you're going to do an honor type system, maybe you have a random audit included in there that says we're going to randomly audit those that have self-certified or honor system told us they're vaccinated. And that means at some point we may draw your name and say, hey, can you show us proof that you had it? And again, if they haven't had it, what's your repercussion going to be? You can require that proof of vaccine status. If you get a copy of that, do not put it with regular personnel records. Keep that separate. And then another way you could do it is if everyone in your company who has been vaccinated is issued a lanyard or a sticker or a button that says, I've been vaccinated, so that they are disclosing that themselves. They are disclosing that, and therefore they are taking they're voluntarily disclosing that to everybody. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. They're voluntarily disclosing that to other employees. Do you really want to do that? I might stay away from that. I mean, you can't be done, but the compliance girl in me says that opens up a whole nother field. So the one thing about the COVID vaccine is the vaccine status is not protected under HIPAA because it's a public health issue, and because you're not really asking a medical question as far as under the things under HIPAA and the health plan. You're just, hey, have you been vaccinated or not? Yes or no. So good article. I would suggest you go read it. It's 6 or 7 pages long. Definitely worth it. There's also another one out there about the 2 clear options to provide vaccine incentives under the EEOC guidance. I will say this. There's a lot of misinformation out there regarding the vaccine or regarding the vaccine mandate and incentives. I've heard some politicians actually say they can't require it. Well, they can require it, and they being the employer. A lot of people are sticking to, well, it's not FDA approved. It is FDA approved for emergency use only. And under that, the EEOC says, yeah, it can be done because it's a public health issue. So more to come on vaccines and return to work. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more questions. If there's any issues or questions related to returning to work, let me know. I do want to say this on the incentives. You cannot incentivize for family members. You can only incentivize for the employee. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at doing that. If you are looking at structuring some sort of incentive, some sort of mandate, talk to your BIM Group account executive or myself to make sure that you've got a clear runway and that you're not going to have any fallback on that. So just want to make sure everyone's aware on that. And then really that's all I had today. I just wanted to hit those two things. I know COBRA and ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, still has a lot of questions out there. If there's anything that you're running into on that, that's going to, got questions, please feel free and let me know. And we will be back in 2 weeks on Tuesday. Hope to get back on our regular schedule. And that's all I have for today. Diana, I think it's just us. Do you have anything or any questions on any of this? I know you're excited to continue employer mandate reporting. Making sure I haven't lost my comments again. They seem to be disappearing. Okay, well, good. I know you're not. I'm sorry. Well, with that, I will close. If you think of something else, you know where to find me. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And if you have any questions or additional comments, you can reach me at Deanna@bimgroup.us. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.